BBC has been told about hundreds of cases of children with learning disabilities and autism being physically restrained and sometimes injured in special schools. In the UK, there's no legal obligation to report restraint or to notify parents that it's been used. But some are calling on the government to change that and be better at monitoring how the most vulnerable children are treated in the classroom. A warning: this report from Jane McGubbin contains images that some of you might find distressing.
He was just a broken child. He was crying all the time with night terrors, panic attacks.
We couldn't understand anymore.
No.
Deirdre and Rodney tell me they just couldn't figure out a change in their son's behaviour until they saw his school diary.
Because his feet were tied, his waist was tied, there was a table on there. All these methods of restraint.
Harry has no mobility issues, but he does have a learning disability and autism. He might drop to the floor or run when he doesn't want to do something, as he often did in school. But because he is totally non-verbal, he has few other ways to communicate. His parents say they knew a chair was being used for meal times, but not to this extent or in this way.
He was in the chair for playing, he was in the chair for feeding, he was in the chair for learning.
It's very easy to put someone in a chair and strap them in. They keep them, they make life a lot easier for the staff. But certainly that wasn't a good thing for Harry.
Social services referred this to police, writing to the family to say this could be classed as physical abuse. The schools say they're unable to comment because of that investigation. We've been given information from hundreds of cases passed on to charities which are calling for action. Photographs of the rooms where children are locked up, injuries after physical restraints. Some say there is another way.
Very good.
Brilliant. Mo is one of around 400 pupils here in one of England's biggest special schools.
This used to be the room used for seclusion.
Richard, the head, tells me it's now a sensory room where Chantel and Jeremiah are catching fish. While we film, Ayan drops to the floor and refuses to budge. Another girl bolts from a classroom. But here they have a hands-off approach. It's cut restraint incidents by over 80% and won the school awards.
Yay! You've got rid of the isolation room.
Yeah.
No kids are locked in.
No.
You don't strap children into chairs.
No.
But are there situations where it's very difficult and maybe restrictive practices are needed?
Very occasionally. We're not dealing with naughty children. We're dealing with young people who are trying to communicate their needs, and it's understanding what their behaviour actually means and what it's saying. So they're not the problem. Often, as adults, we're the problem.
Charities tell us their evidence is the tip of the iceberg, but there's no way of knowing for sure because there's no legal obligation for schools to report incidents. The Department for Education in England told us there's no need for schools to report all restraint to parents or authorities, but should consider if staff need training. Scotland say isolation and restraint should only be a last resort and should be carefully monitored. In Wales and Northern Ireland, schools are strongly advised to keep records. As for Harry,
He's back to himself. He's laughing and giggling, and he loves socialising. He loves being around other people. He loves getting out in the car again. All the things that he had totally regressed from, he's back doing again now.
The chair isn't used at all.
No. Not at all, no. Not at all.
Jane McGubbin, BBC News.